Hey mamas,
Welcome back to another episode. I'm Jess,
I'm Erica.
and today, guys, we have got, you guys might know her. She is Nourishing Mama. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. I'm super excited, really busy because you may have seen that I've just launched a summer collection of new products that I had been working on for so long. So yeah, I've been really, really busy with that, really exhausted. But because I'm so happy about it, it's kind of like I'm not really feeling it.
Mama's Code. So, we've been fans of Nourishing Mama for quite a while, and we just find it so. Because normally we talk about, us mums, that sometimes we lose our motivation once we have kids. Like our main focus is, oh, well, I'm a mum. And we don't see past that. Most of us leave our careers to a side and stuff. So talk to us a little bit on how you came about Nourishing Mama.
When you become a mom, it almost feels like that's your new identity. So everything you end up doing is almost like connected to being a mother, or what I'm wearing. Okay, say for instance you're a new mom and you're breastfeeding, have to think about everything that accommodates the baby. So it's definitely so hard trying to have some kind of line where being a mother is being a mother, but then you've got other responsibilities in your life. So definitely it's challenging. I will be very honest. Nourishing Mama came about almost as an accident, but it's because, so basically I've always had an interest in natural skincare. I've always made, especially since I had my first 10 years ago, I've always made skincare for her and for me to use, just because I was so shocked about the things that, when I looked at packaging for baby products, for instance, there was so much crap in it and so many things I just didn't understand. So I was like, do you know what, there must be like a sort of cleaner way to look after my baby, sort of, with less chemicals and so on. So I was really amateur at this point. I started making just basic skincare, following recipes online, following recipes on YouTube, just really, really basic stuff. And then as time went on, I made more and more skincare for my family. When I say skincare, it was more like body butters and sort of bath salts and things like that, really basic, but I didn't really know the benefits of what I was putting in them. I just knew that was a natural alternative to what was already on the market. And then I got pregnant with my second child, at which point I started looking into so many more natural ways to raise your kids, to nourish your children, to, leading up to that, it was sort of like time of discovery, of learning new ways to do things the more natural way. Something that I really love, which is skincare, is something that I could do potentially in the long run. But what I wanted to do was actually learn how to do this properly, rather than just following recipes and just being sort of like a YouTube graduate kind of thing. I always say that, but it's that's the only way I can describe it, rather than just saying, I'm selling you a product that I've learned how to make on YouTube. I wanted to learn how to do this properly, even if it's just for my family. But then I thought, this could be something that I can do in the long run. So then I took a diploma in natural skincare formulation, and I learned how to formulate products from scratch, how to read labels, how to decide what I wanted to put on a product, what was necessary and what was unnecessary to put in a product.
So when I was pregnant with Violet, I also started studying herbalism because, first of all, I wanted to connect more with Mother Nature, as I was already learning natural healing, natural ways to heal and natural remedies, but I wanted to learn more how I could utilize, herbs and shrubs and like different things around me to heal and to recover. But also because obviously being pregnant, I was planning my home birth, and I started looking into natural ways of healing postpartum. So for me, it was important to find the best way to heal using herbs and so on, because I had read so much about it. So how Nourishing Mama actually came about is that I ended up buying, and I didn't realize, I ended up buying a kilo of each herb that I use for my blend. I'm thinking a kilo, like you get like a kilo of sugar, maybe it'll be like that much, it won't be like a kilo of, say for instance, calendula or chamomile was like this. And I had 6 different bags of kilos of each of these things. So for age, basically I had like a whole shop of herbs. So we had them in a big box in the living room, and I had made, the herb mix that I wanted for my birth, and I had used them. A month later I was still using them, and at that point my partner was like, listen, you need to get rid of these herbs, or I'm going to chuck them. Like, literally, there's just a box of herbs here. What, we look like dealers. So I was like, damn, okay, cool. So what I did is I said, okay, I'll open an Etsy shop, and I'll just sell these herbs, because it's something that helped me heal, and I'm learning about them. So, I can talk about how they heal you. And I would just love to sell them to other people, because there wasn't that much here in the UK. I didn't see many people selling such herbs, like the blend already. So I did that, and oh my goodness, it did so well. So many people were like, wow, this is what I've been looking for. And here in Etsy, like in America, this is something that's a bit popular, but here in the UK, there's not many people that sell them. So that's how really Nourishing Mama came about. It was almost like a push. And that's what the original thought was. We'll get rid of these, and then at least, we'll have the space again. But actually they did so well that I started selling them long term. So that was in April, I started selling those. And then by December that year, I had already created by then is when I first launched my first mama and baby range. So they were my first ever products. And I launched those because all that time I was working on products that I was using on my newborn daughter. And then I thought, yeah, this is something that, with the knowledge of herbalism and the knowledge that I got from my diploma, I was able to formulate these products to then start selling them, basically.
Like the herbs that you talk about, and I spoke to you about, why you would recommend them. Is that like el saumerio that we use in Latin America, when after you give birth, like after la dieta, and that you have to stand and like let like air go into your vagina and stuff?
That's essentially a yoni steam. That's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that is, which is amazing, because it shows you how tradition comes about and it becomes this trend per se. But actually, when you go back home and you speak to their grandmothers and you speak to the curanderas from the towns or whatever, and these are things that these people were practicing for years. This is standard traditional natural healing. Think about it. There's all these tribes and all these remote villages and so on that just don't have physicians available. They don't have modern medicine. How do they heal their wounded mothers, soldiers, anybody, people that men that have gone out to hunt? Like, how do you heal all these people? How do you heal someone that's fallen and broken something or got a deep wound? They don't have access to hospitals and things like that. They just know the tradition that's been passed on from generation to generation about natural healing, how to use Mother Nature to do this. I guess the information, everything is so deep set that they automatically know how to do it. So yeah, that's very much when I learned about the herbs, and then I started reading about the root of them, where that came from, and it was all based on shamanic healing and so on. And it was like, it made me think about that. It made me think exactly. And even when I spoke to my mom about them, she was like, oh yeah, that I did that when you were born. That is so beneficial for you. People don't know how things like that can really benefit you, especially after a birth. Because think about it, you've had your whole system rearranged for say around 10 months or so. You haven't had a period, you haven't had your normal regular cycle that your body is used to accommodate a growing baby. So once that that system starts sort of reworking again, it always needs, imagine like a tuerca, like when it needs a bit of oil kind of thing. You should essentially help it along by doing things to naturally heal after your birth, so your normal system carries on as normal.
We should really be oiling our vaginas. Guys, the yoni steams, are they only for people that have just given birth, or can you do it at any point in your life?
Absolutely, any point. They're definitely not just for even mothers. They could be for anyone at all. So sometimes basically what our bodies go through now, when from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep, you would have put apparently over 600 different chemicals on your skin, and that includes things like toothpaste, your face wash, your shower gels, your body creams, your makeup, your perfume, everything, your deodorant, the things that you put your skin through, your body through, right? Is so much that this is something that, again, our ancestors would never have done before. So what is going into our bloodstream now is not what was going into the bloodstream of our ancestors before, and people just before us, our generations just before us. So there's so many things, there's so many different chemicals that are, you know, everything's made of chemicals, by the way. Don't be scared of the word chemicals, because that's a misconception that they're bad for you. It's the synthetic ones, the ones that are not necessary, they're the ones that are bad for you. So when it comes to chemicals, you know, so they can go into your bloodstream, and they can affect your natural systems, such as, you know, the way, you know, the natural fluids of your vagina and so on. Especially things that if you use, you know, vagina washes and so on, that which are so detrimental to you, by the way. Let me put that out there. Don't use any of that crap on you. Water is what you must use down there, because the natural bacteria know how to clean you down there. So imagine someone that's constantly like using shower gels, using all this stuff, yeah, that build up and that killing off the good bacteria, you know, if essentially it needs to come back. You know, you need to be able to help it heal again. So things like yoni steaming is amazing for that, because you're helping the natural bacteria, the natural pH of your vagina, you know, get back to normal. And that's what that would benefit anyone, not just mothers, anyone really.
What about the herbs? Is that only for after you've given birth? Because I understand the concept. Like, I never did that whole standing, you know, because I just always thought, it's just really long. I don't want steam burning my vagina inside. And because I heard, like, I remember once one of my friends did the whole salmedio thing, and like she was basically dying in the room because there was so much smoke. And I was like, sorry, but why do we have to go through this? Like, you know, I've just pushed out a baby, like my body hurts. I mean, I don't need this kind of negativity in my life about, and it, like, salmedio stinks, like that smoke thing that they put around you, it stinks. And like, I remember my mum like vividly saying to me, like, oh, you need to do it because you need to cleanse your inside. And like my aunties would be like, oh, if you don't do it, so I quedar con like belly aches and like headaches. And like, I've suffered from headaches. I suffer from migraines. So I was like, well, you know, if I do, it's just normal. Like, I've suffered from it from before. But now when I kind of see it, and I've like, I think more like since I've started following your kind of journey, and I've always remember last time I asked you about the yoni steams, because I was like, oh my God, I feel like it's true what you say. Our bodies go through so much, and especially inside, like the pH balance and everything, that we don't take care of it. And we're all talking about, you know, oh, you have to invest like expensive amounts of money in like makeup and stuff, but we're not taking care of our insides, because truly that's where we start deteriorating before it kind of shows on the outside. So what would you recommend?
And also the penises that go inside us.
Well, I don't know how many penises go inside you, but just the one.
For all those ladies, no judgment.
No, but they're still dirty, because obviously the sweat during the day, the ball, the saltiness and stuff.
100%.
Some women will say that they make their man have shower before they have sex, and I'm sorry, but
they don't all do that. Yeah, you know they don't all do that.
It really infuriates me when people say that, because it's like I remember I had an argument, well, not an argument, but a discussion with Jess about what was it that like calendaring in sex time. And I thought, how like, can you imagine like me sending Ollie like, oh yeah, tomorrow 8 p.m, meet me in the room, we're gonna have
make
sex.
Sure you're clean.
No, but you know what, I'm a person that if I'm going to give my man a blowjob, I would preferably like him to go and wash his penis before I put it in.
Yeah.
I don't care that we're in the moment.
I'm sorry, I agree with Jess.
And he's very clean. Like he smells of soap, but I can't. Obviously, like there's sometimes where in the moment you will do it. But sorry, this is like a bit off topic. But can I just mention how annoying how easy is it for them to just put their dick on the sink and wash it, whereas us, like, you go and you have to put one leg up on the toilet chair and then like flick water and like try not to get the floor wet.
Let me give you a little tip. I've got my little jug, you know. I don't do that. I've got my little jug and I wash myself over the toilet, because I'm not doing that whole leg thing.
No, but say for instance you've got a date and you're like going back to his, or you've got a one night stand, you don't carry your jug in your bag. Exactly. Firstly, because if you're going out to the club, you don't even have a bag big enough for it. But it's just so long. Like, I wish there was some. I wish the sinks were a bit lower, or like, you know, in Spain,
Or
where
like
they
a
have
booty
that.
washer. Yeah. What do you call the bibettes? Yeah.
Oh my God, I bought one of those.
Have you used it?
Because one of my friends, no, because I was pregnant. So one of my friends was raving about it, that before she gives anal, she has to she washes her bum. And I was like, oh my God, I really want one of those. And I bought it. And then I was like, oh my God, please tell me how it works. And then she was like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't use it because it might bring on like labor and you're not there yet. And I was like,
But you know, like most houses in America have them. I don't know why we don't have them here. And people like in China, that's like a standard. You have to wash your bum. Like they don't even use tissue. You wash yourself.
Do you know what's so annoying? When you've just had a shower and you're getting ready to go out, and then
I
you
just
want to
washed
shit
properly.
I
Yeah.
just cleaned myself. Yeah. And sometimes, obviously, like, I mean, I always pee before I get into the shower, and sometimes I don't feel like doing one there. But as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm like, oh my God, Jess, for fuck's sake, you're gonna have to wait until tomorrow morning shower.
I love this. We just go into the shit talk.
literally from herbs to shit. So yeah, so say like if I wanted to use the herbs now, how beneficial would it be for me?
So the herbs are slightly different to what a yoni steam would be. With the yoni steam, you're literally just standing over and you're allowing the steam to get inside you, to try cleanse, to try, remove some of that old blood or remove anything that it needs to cleanse that way. I mean, neither one is better, but the herbs have another benefit to them, and I'll explain what I mean. So with the herbs, if you follow the instructions that I give, which is obviously to put them in, to basically brew it for, like a tea, ideally a couple of hours before, to allow all the properties to infuse into the water, and then you pour the whole infusion into your bath. If you follow those instructions, you're going to get the benefits of the herbs, which is going to be the healing, the anti-inflammatory, also the benefits of the salts, because with my postpartum healing herbs, you also get salts within the mix. You get Epsom salt, and what that does, it actually promotes not only healing for inside the vagina and or postpartum and so on, but also muscle ache. So after you've given birth, it's actually a whole body experience. It's a physical, it takes the whole body to deal with it. So yeah, you're gonna end up with a lot of muscle ache, tension and so on. So what that does, the herbs help you to heal and to recover quicker, but it also helps you with relaxation, deep relaxation, because I don't know if you know, but Epsom salts are actually really, really beneficial for muscle ache, for like muscle recovery, and a lot of athletes and so on have big Epsom salt baths after they've had matches and so on, or after they've been to the gym. And so yeah, you get the double benefit of the internal healing, but also the muscle healing, which is why a lot of men actually end up using my herbs as well. Like I remember my partner after football, he always used, when he has the time, he'll have a bath with the herbs. He'll be like, babe, can you brew me some herbs? And then when he gets here, he'll have a bath, just because it's so deeply relaxing. I guess that they will benefit people in general, men and women. But obviously the way I sell them, they're called postpartum healing herbs. A man wouldn't necessarily go for that, but it would be beneficial for anyone that, experiences any kind of physical labor, physical pain or anything like that.
Would you also recommend, because I feel like when a woman, obviously it's postpartum, right? And I feel like a lot of women, after they have like a miscarriage and stuff, they just think, oh, the fetus has discarded, like I don't need. But the reality is your body has gone through a lot of trauma inside. I think this should be promoted a lot for people who go through miscarriages, and say like if they like really far on in the pregnancy, or like abortions and stuff, because you don't know what lingers in your body. Like what if like remains, like I remember a friend had an abortion and she bled for what seemed like 6 months, and I was like, that's not normal. And then she got told that it was because she still had bits of the fetus inside. So it's like, maybe if like the herbs that you sell were promoted more in terms of like making people aware that it's not a burden. Like if you want to have an abortion, cool, have an abortion, but make sure you take care of your insides, because maybe you don't want to have a child, but you need a healthy inside, or maybe you want to have a child further along the way. So just to kind of like, again, cleanse your body and have like I don't know, but I just felt like it was really important to say, because just the same way I want to try it and I'm not pregnant or anything, I also think it's very important to touch on that when you have a miscarriage, your body still needs that cleanse.
To be honest, the point you made was actually, I hadn't actually really thought about it, but it does make sense, Erica, because when you have, say, for instance, an abortion or even a miscarriage, and then they have to remove the baby from you. Obviously, I'm not an expert, by the way. Just so I put an disclaimer out there. I am not an expert in anything. These are my opinions and my research, by the way. But when you, for instance, have an abortion or a miscarriage and they have to remove the baby, there can definitely be remnants of the baby inside you still. So that would definitely cause an issue inside you, because think about it, white blood cells will rush to that area and try to build some kind of like wall around it. And that's how a lot of people end up with tumors and things like that, because you would still have that inside you. So things like, a yoni steam, things like having a sitz bath. A sitz bath is slightly different to what the baths that I recommend. A sitz bath just means basically you're having like a really concentrated concoction kind of thing in your bath, and it's only like a little bit, so you only sit in it. It's not going all over your body, it's just your vagina basically sitting in that for a while. So some people won't have time for a bath, but they'll have time for that. Doing any of those methods using the healing herbs, things that are going to help you draw out these impurities, that's definitely going to be beneficial for people like that. And I hadn't actually thought about it, but it's true, because when they're carrying out these procedures and so on, it's human error, or it's just standard that sometimes they don't clean everything out. So to allow that natural progress, to remove everything, you should definitely do something on your own. You shouldn't just assume that everything is okay. You should definitely look after yourself after that, because it's still a procedure. It's still your body going through something big. Your body was getting used to building a baby, and now it's not. And it's like all of that needs to be sort of put back together, kind of thing, in a way.
Mama, I love you.
Talk to us about your butters. And I know Jess has tried them and she goes on and on about them. I still need to try them. What benefits do they have?
So basically, in general, all my butters are made with really clear, transparent ingredients that you can see, you understand, and you can see how natural they are. The majority of the ingredients, so it's 95% organic, which means that only a couple are not of organic matter. That's not to say they're GMO, but they're just not organic certification. That's all it is. I obviously try to make skincare, body care, I should say, for the whole family. So they're safe enough for everybody to use, your kids and so on. When it comes to the Mama Belly butter, it's just the formula is just slightly different. It contains a few different ingredients which are going to help you with the skin elasticity. It's going to help you as well with an itchiness, because as your bump is growing, you're going to have that itchiness and you just want to scratch. Once you apply this butter, it's going to help you alleviate these sensations, but also help nourish the skin so it doesn't, I'm not saying and I'm not claiming that it gets rid of stretch marks or anything like that, but it does aid to, not give you such strong stretch marks and things like that, as opposed to not using anything at all. So that's what the butter is formulated for, to just assist that process of your growing bump, and as it's growing, to deal with all the different, things that come along with it. I wouldn't say issues, because, it's not issues, but, all the different sensations that you get as your bump is growing. Yeah, that's one. And obviously, like I said, the standard deluxe body butter is called deluxe because it does contain, when you see a lot of butters out there, say for instance you go on Etsy and you look for body butters and so on, there's so many like similar items out there that you think, well, why would I pay more for something that's like exactly the same as something else? But when you look at the ingredients list, most of them would just be basic 2 or 3 ingredients, which you can make a body butter with just shea butter, for instance. You can make a body butter with just shea butter and coconut oil and avocado oil, and that's it. Call it a body butter. Maybe put some fragrance, maybe put some essential oils, you can call it a body butter. But with my butters, I have done so much extensive research in what the percentage of each ingredient that goes into it is adequate to give you the benefits of that butter. Because a lot of times what you'll find as well, a lot of products that are out there in the market, they'll say, it contains so and so, and it will just be like the most minute percentage of that, so it doesn't make a difference in your body anyway. Whereas with my butters, I make sure that the percentage or the quantity of each ingredient in there is enough to give you the benefit of that ingredient in there. So you have not only like the good butters, you have shea butter, mango butter and cocoa butter, but you also have really skin nourishing oils, added to the blend, which is just fantastic, and it gives you that long lasting effect, that long lasting nourishment on your body, on your skin, but that smooth velvety finish as well. So
I was gonna say, it's very, like, it really penetrates your skin. I remember when I think, was it before Christmas, I ordered one of the deluxe butters off you, and it didn't last me long, simply because I'd love smothering my whole body in it, and I'll put it on my son as well. And just what I liked about it is when you put it on your hands, it just starts melting already, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to put it, but you could feel your skin sucking in everything. I was just going to ask a question, obviously, now that you touched on the whole Etsy thing. How do you feel about being in a market where there's a lot of, your product? And because it's not easy that, sometimes you have an idea, you pursue your idea, and then someone else comes and does it, and then someone else, especially on Etsy, like I've seen so many things, and I know that, I mean, you look at Rihanna, she decided to do Fenty, and she's like, everyone loves her makeup, and it doesn't mean that, Benefit is doing shit or anything, but does that affect your motivation or your creativity?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. One thing I've always suffered as a business owner, I would say, and I'm sure loads of other business owners suffer the same, is imposter syndrome, where you actually think, you tell yourself this bad belief that you are not, how can I tell you, you're not qualified enough to talk about something, to discuss something, to launch something, to show other people something. You're not qualified enough to showcase this thing. And I have suffered a lot with that, because I always feel like, there's so many other formulators out there that know so much more than me, that have been formulating for years. Imagine if I put out a product and they say, what the hell is that? Like, that's not what you've claimed it is, or whatever. And that thought has really, like, I've battled with that. That's the only thing I would generally say that I have ever battled with, just that imposter syndrome, where I think I'm not good enough, or like I'm not qualified enough to discuss some things. But then, I'll sit back, and then, say for instance, when you guys ask me and I'm here talking, and I look back and I'm like, do you know what? I've worked fucking hard, to learn these things. I decided to have a brand where I make everything from scratch. I didn't have to do that. There's so many options out there for me to have already launched a brand with things that are already made, and that's absolutely fine, no problem. But I wanted to do this because I wanted to feel like this truly belonged to me. No one else out there has my formulations. No one else out there has made what I've made. And that's how I see it when it comes to Etsy and so on, because starting in a market that's already so saturated can be really, it can be really, like you said, it can make you feel like, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to break through this industry there's already so many people doing the same thing? But it is literally, I know it sounds like such a cliche thing, but it's literally just focusing on yourself. Because obviously when you start off, you look at what other people are doing around you. You're going to look to see maybe what are their pricing like, what is their kind of wording for the products that they're using, what kind of strategies they're using to promote this product. So because you want to get ideas of people that are already doing well. So yes, you do start off like trying to get those ideas and trying to see how you can make them your own. But as your products are going, you have to make everything your own. You really do have to do it, and focus on yourself. You cannot look at someone that's doing similar or the same thing as you and just get depressed by that or get upset by that, because they will carry on. They don't care about you. They will carry on, and that's how you have to see it. We're so lucky that we live in a world where people are starting to, in a generation, I should say, where people are starting to come to terms with like accepting more natural ways about them, and they're prepared to invest a little bit more in themselves when if it's good for you, it's more beneficial for you than the standard alternative that's out there. So I'm quite lucky that I'm in a sector, I guess, in a industry that a lot of people are willing to maybe potentially spend a little bit more, because they know they're going to get a quality item, as opposed to, you know, going into packs and just getting a shea butter, but it's got a whole bunch of other things in it. So I guess that's the way I see things. You know, there's so many people out there doing the same thing, and that's fantastic. But there's also enough for everyone. Everyone is able to come out with these things or similar things, and there will be a client for you. Trust me, there'll be a customer for you. You don't have to worry about me doing this. I don't have to worry about you doing that, because someone will buy from you and someone will buy from me as well. I am genuinely super supportive of people out there doing things. And I will be honest, there's been people out there that have asked me down to a T how I make things, and I'll give them as much as I can. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to give you my formulas and things. And they've launched a product that is even called exactly the same as mine. And I'm like, you know what? Good luck. I'm not going to come online and bash you, because that's definitely not good karma. I'm not going to go and do that.
No, and you know what? Like, I feel like things like that, if it's two different, like it can be someone in Canada and someone in the UK with the same idea, at one point in your journey, you're bound to come and do something similar, because it's the product that comes attached with that.
Yeah, it's funny you say Canada, because the girl that done the products, 3 products that I do,
oh my God, really?
is from Canada. That's yeah. She launched a whole range of like Mama Belly Butter and Nipple Balm, and she's from Canada. I was like,
I say it because obviously our product is the podcast, and we, you know, at the beginning, like I did a lot of research and listened to other episodes of other podcasts, and I found that a lot of the podcasts will have the same episode on tantrums, on sleep, on judgment, and, you know, pregnancy and stuff. But it's like, it's the way you deliver that. It's the way you deliver that conversation. It's the way you interview the person. It's the way you know, structure your episode. And it doesn't, you know, I love listening to other people's podcasts, but sometimes I've heard some, I'm like, this is so boring. And not because what they're saying, because some of the episodes, they're like facts and it's really interesting, but it's just boring. And I hope we're not those boring people, but
no,
you know what I mean? It's like a same product, but just delivered differently. And like I said, at one point in your journey, you're going to seem a bit similar, but that doesn't need to dwell on your creativity or, you know.
Well, it's like I've always said, if you go Tesco's, Asda, wherever you go to the bread aisle, there's like 10 odd breads, different breads, and sometimes they taste the same, like Hovis and the other brand taste the same to me.
King's Meal.
And they all have, and like you said, Denise, each one will have a designed customer for it. Like, just because this one makes it, you know, 50-50 and the other one makes it no crust, it doesn't matter. It's bread, same shit. But you're gonna have a customer, and I feel like within us, like you say, you know, that you like to share to an extent your formulas and stuff. But I feel like there's space for everyone to grow.
100%,
but I feel like there's people that are so narrow-minded that they assume that, oh no, it's just me. But then they scream, oh, I'm going to support as well. And it's not always like that.
So this is something I wanted to talk about, discuss. Because the way I see this here, for instance, first of all, let me just say something. If you have a brand, so this is not your personal page, this is not you, yeah? This is your brand that you're showcasing, yeah? Just be very mindful of what comes out of your mouth when you are talking on your brand page. Say, for instance, you are Mama's Code, and you come on and you spewed all this negativity, all this, you know, like bashing other podcasts and bashing other people. And what do you think that's going to do for your brand? What do you think that's going to do for your podcast? You might think and have this delusional idea that people love you and they're like supporting you, when really people are saying in the background, wow, I cannot believe this person. I cannot believe Jess has come on and she's bashing this other podcast. Imagine that. That's so negative and that's so bad for her brand. I'm not going to listen to her anymore. And that's what happens. You have to be so mindful. If you are a professional, you have put your name, you have paid money to have a logo, to have branding, to have a product, right? You have to be so mindful of how you portray yourself. your image and your, 100% make it personal, make it fun, make it, I share a lot of personal stuff on my Nourishing Mama page. But I would never, even if I felt a certain way about other brands, about other people doing so-called the same thing as me, I could never come on my page and start bashing those people and start doing that. I might bitch about it with my friends. I might show other people, look at this, whatever. And we do that because we're naturally, as women, we'll do that. Cool, that's fine. But you don't do that on your page. That is so detrimental to yourself, not to the brand you're trying to bash. That's to yourself. Because you wouldn't believe the response that comes from things like that. The background response where you think all these people are loving you because they're watching you or whatever. They're actually discussing this and they're saying, wow, this person needs to get a grip, So that's something that I always am more than happy to say. Like when it comes to, and I was actually going to say something about how you portray yourself personally in your brand. And for me, it's so important that when I come on my page, I don't want to fake positivity because I always say when I haven't had a good day, I will say, I've had a really shitty week, or I will be honest about it. It's good to share, honesty. It's good to share, when you have ups as well as downs, you should share that. But I definitely think there needs to be like a barrier, not a barrier, but I guess like a limit, a line where you go. Boundary, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, boundary, where you take it to when it comes to personal stuff, when it comes to your personal opinions. Because people don't buy a product most times, they buy you as a person. They start, how can I tell you, they start, they read about you on your webpage, they start watching all your posts, they like your posts, and sometimes you have no idea how much a person has invested in you. So like months down the line, they're like, oh yeah, I remember when you said this, and you're like, I said that? Sorry, and I was just going to say, I've just had that a few times. So you just have to remember that people are buying you as a person, not just your product.
I was going to say, I have a friend that we went to get a coffee, and she was like, oh, but can we get it here in Nero? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I really want a caramel frappuccino, but like, we're here now, I'll have a chai latte, like, I'm not fussy. And she was like, sorry, I don't like Starbucks anymore because they don't support Black Lives Matter. And obviously, like, it's very respectful because, you don't want to put your money somewhere that doesn't go with the values and morals that you have. But in my head, like, I was like, oh, but the caramel frappuccino, no one does it like Starbucks stuff. But again, it's a situation where people will buy the product because of who you are and your authenticity, than to what's actually at the front of on top of the shelf, basically.
100%. So I would always say, anyone that starts off a business, just don't forget, be so mindful that people are watching your brand. Is a brand, it's a professional thing. Don't share your every last view of everything on your page. It goes back to that saying, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Amen, sister. I feel like this deserves, like, just when you're editing, can you add like mic drops? Because you just literally, and it's true, like, and like in an industry where we're all trying to make it, we're all trying to salir de pobres.
Yes.
You want to be encouraged, and like you say, Denise, like that imposter syndrome that you sometimes have. We sometimes, like Jess and I, we're like, when we brought out the mugs, we were like, oh, but who's going to buy a mug? And then you start thinking of pricing, and we were like, it costs us this much to make the mug, and then we have to sell it at this price. And we were already undermining ourselves. And then when we launched and everything sold out within like a few days, we were like, oh,
hello, shit. I went to get mine. I was like, where the hell they gone? Where they gone? There was zero.
Yeah, literally, like they sold out. But it's like, it's that because you self-doubt yourself, because again, there's not that much support out there. You're always seeing people, again, different brands bashing each other, like, oh, this one did this one, so I'm going to go and do this one better. And then this one will criticize this one. And it's like, there's space for everyone. Like, literally, there is space for everyone to grow. And, after us, more podcasts came out and we were rooting for them. We were like, yes, like, we really hope. Like, we had, I don't know if you ever heard them, Salsa y Recocha. It was
I haven't heard them, but I do know of them. Yeah,
it was these two guys, and they had a really good thing going on. And we were like, keep it going. Unfortunately, they stopped at the moment. But hopefully they come back, because it's hard. Like, what I want to know from you, because like, say me and Jess, we aren't on a grind every single day. Well, we both work and, you know, but like podcast wise, it's like we have an idea, we quickly message each other all day, and then we kind of lock off from Mama's Code.
What we do is free, basically.
Yeah.
We're not non-profit, whereas if you don't put your work in, how are you going to get a purchase?
But how do you, as a mum / businesswoman, separate your time and not let your business overtake your parenting?
Okay, so I would say that last year was one of the hardest years for me, like for everyone, obviously, for obvious reasons. But the reason why I mentioned this is because last year is when I also felt like I went in with my business. So I went through a really bad breakup, which we're back together now, which has been back together for a couple of months, so that's nice. But you know, when we separated, it was for valid reasons for both of us. But it was so hard because I had just come out of my flat that I had to leave, and I was living at my mum's until I can find a flat for all of us again. And then I ended up going through that breakup, and then so it felt like me and my girls were alone, you know. And then I thought, what's the one thing that I can do to sort of take my mind away from that? So I went in with my business more. I started showing up more on my page. That's when I decided to, you know, eventually do my website instead of just going selling on Etsy. So I was going in with my business more, and it's what helped me get away from that mindset. So when I did move into my flat, it was really hard because I had no help. Sorry, I shouldn't say I had no help. What it was, I was living away further from my mom, you know, so I didn't have the immediate help with the kids. I didn't have the immediate help. And when I make products, for instance, when I formulate, I rather do it when the girls are not in the house, because I have to sanitize everything. I have to sterilize and sanitize everything. I look like I'm a forensic. I've got a mask on, gloves on, hairnet, everything. So everything I try to make as clean as possible. And you know, when you've got kids running around, mommy, I want this, mommy, esto. You know, you can't do things like that, sanitize standards, when you've got kids running around. So I always formulate on the weekends, and that's something I got used to doing, because I was obviously single and I didn't have my partner here. All I could do is wait till the weekends that I can drop off my girls to either my mom's or he'll have them, you know, and then I could use my weekends to make products. And that's when I usually did. So I didn't really have much of a social life, not that anyone did last year, but you know, even up until now, that's what I still do. On the weekends, I actually utilize that time to formulate my products, and bang out as much as I can. From as soon as I drop off my girls, I plan everything ahead, clean everything, and then in the morning I'll make sure I sanitize everything, and then start Saturday, all day Sunday. Sometimes you'll see me, like, I'll post about it formulated, you know, at 2 a.m, whatever. And it's because when I'm doing it, I'm just so focused on that I don't, you know, I don't eat, I don't drink, I don't do anything. I just make the products because I want to get as much out as I can before my girls come back. And that's what I normally do. So I make the products on the weekends, and usually during the week is when I pack them. As I get orders, I pack them and I take them to the post office. So yeah, I must say though that I am really, really grateful because I have got the support of my family, you know, and they do help me out where they can help me out. But say for instance, he's at uni, so he's been so busy with that as well. But it's really hard trying to separate that time from like mummy and work. Because I do a lot of work on my phone, a lot, even on my website and stuff, I can do a lot of it on my phone. So I feel like I'm always on my phone. And even like I've had my 10-year-old say to me, Mama, you going to get off your phone? And I feel terrible. I feel so terrible because it just, yes, sometimes I am on Instagram and I am on social media, but most of the time what I'm doing is doing some kind of work, some kind of job on my phone, you know, creating an invoice, doing some kind of accounting. Because I am still the person doing all these jobs for my business. I am still the one person wearing all the hats. So it can be really challenging to separate the two things. Because as soon as you have something in mind that you want to execute, you're like, I'm just going to quickly do this. If you're sitting around with the kids watching TV or you're doing something, you know, I'm just going to quickly do this. And quickly turns into like an hour, 2 hours. And you think, oh my God, I've been on my phone for how long? And my kids are there watching me. What I would say is definitely try to time yourself. And I've had to physically put alarms on my phone to tell me when to stop doing something. If I don't do it, I don't look at the time and I just work and I just do things and I just, you know. So in order to have some kind of balance with my girls, I've had to do that.
Mama, I love you. Before we wrap this up, tell us about your new launch, because let me tell you, I remember when you started posting about the packaging and you got samples. I think this must have been like 4 months ago, maybe more, at the beginning of the year, maybe Christmas. And the tubs looked beautiful, and I actually thought you were going to have body sprays, and then you come out with the shimmer tubs, and they look beautiful. Like, me and Erica saw your pictures, we're like, oh my god, they look amazing. How has the launch been?
Thank you for asking. Definitely, I would say, like all my other products that I've launched, you know, there has been so much love and effort and devotion and care that has gone into these products. As you know, I make all my things from scratch, so you know, it was literally learning how to make this, because I've never worked with things like micas. Micas are just natural pigments that have been pigmented basically with a shimmer kind of thing. I've never worked with those before, so I didn't know how to use them. I've never worked with a few different ingredients that I use for my my products, such as silica microspheres, which is like a really lovely, it's what leaves you that kind of velvety feeling, that kind of dry oil feel. So I've never worked with things like that, and you know, a few other ingredients, and it was like even though I had learned about them in my diploma, I still hadn't formulated with them. So it was everything from the idea to the research to seeing what ingredients work well together and to benefit the skin, because the collection is called Nourishing Glow. And the reason it's called that is because you're not only going to get the glow from the shimmers, the beautiful radiant glow, but you're also going to get really nourishing products. You know, the formula has been made in a way that's going to help you deeply hydrate, you know, once you apply this product. So much thought and love and devotion has gone into it, and I'm honestly, like, even now I'm still catching up with sleep. I'm so exhausted because all I've done is stayed up nights and nights and nights working on so many different elements of it, from like editing the pictures to doing the bits on the website to the wording, because again, I come up with everything myself, and sometimes I read back like the description or something, I'm like, that sounds so stupid. But I don't care, this was come in my mind, so let me just put that down. So yeah, I am super excited to have them launch. So you've got the shimmer body oils, which you have 3 different scents. You have Deliciosa, Dorada and Desnuda, because they're just, you know, to me they just all sound so sexy, and I thought definitely, you know, it sort of showcases what I want to show with that, you know, what I wanted to represent. And then you have the shimmer body souffles, which is a really lightweight body butter with obviously the shimmers, and you have Luna, you have Sol, and you have Fuego. And then you have the foaming sugar scrubs, which are actually a 2-in-1 body wash and sugar scrub and body scrub. So it's fantastic. You don't need to use anything else. You literally just use that. You start lathering it up, and it will lather up really lovely and give you that scrubbing action, which is fantastic. And you have cacao and flores with that one. So yeah, it's just everything, every little last detail to the names, to everything. It's just, you know, it's a whole idea that has come into fruition now, and it's just amazing, and it feels wonderful and a relief really to finally have them out and be available.
The names absolutely love, because I think it's just sexy. It's that summer, hot mum summer.
Exactly.
Congratulations, honestly, they are beautiful.
Thank you so much, my darlings, honestly.
And they're on back order, aren't they?
Yeah, so they're sold out now, all sold. I am taking back orders because you know, I was able to put that option on the website. But yeah, so anyone that's ordering would not, I will be formulating the next batch next week, so you won't get them until sort of the end of next week kind of thing, which is not a long time to wait.
But this is so good, like, and I say it because, like, let's say if it was like, if you got it from like a different country and it was like different, na fábrica, let's say, you wouldn't get it next week because you are working on it from your household. You are making each product that goes into this. You don't have to go and speak to people and say, oh, listen, I need you to go and put whatever is in a tub. And again, like you say, most products say they're organic, say they're this, but the reality is we don't know who's making these products. And we know that most of these brands promote, you know, vegan and 100% organic, but the reality is, in order for them to make money, because they're so big and they're just ordering thousands and thousands, they're not putting the quality that you are putting in your products.
100%. I can honestly tell you, like what I was saying earlier, when I started this journey, I had that vision in mind that I wanted to obviously do the products, and I thought I could go either way. I could learn to make these products myself, go through the hard work of doing everything myself, because that's what happens when you're making everything yourself. You have to create a product, you have to package it, you have to post it, you have to market it, you have to do everything yourself. Or I could have the ready-made option, because I don't know if you're aware, but you can actually buy ready-made, like a whole collection of products on loads of like drop shipping websites and things like that. And you can have a whole collection of products, stamp your logo on it and sell it. And honestly, any option that you choose is absolutely fine. It's just what you personally want to do, what you choose that you want your brand to be. If you want your brand to be something that is, is your passion, you love making things and you love that from start to finish, you have created that, no one else in the world has. Or you just literally, yes, you're passionate about having a brand, but you don't really care how it's made, and it's okay, you just want to put a logo on it and start selling.
But I have a question there, because obviously, like, I understand that, but what happens when Nourishing Mama literally goes through the roof and you have 1,000 orders per hour? Because this is why people turn into mass production, because the demand for it is so much that they can't sit there for one night and make these 1,000 things that they just got last order. So what happens when Nourishing Mama gets there?
Yeah, and do you know what? That is the vision.
Because it's very tempting. It's very tempting to get something that's similar and just be like, oh, they won't notice the difference, and sell it, because obviously you would do your research and say, these are the best products of this, and this is the most organic they have. And because obviously I can't do this, and even if I've got 5 people helping me cook this.
No, and again, it goes down to like cost as well. You're going to have to cut down on cost, because if you're doing 1,000 or like 1,000,000 of these products, you're going to be spending so much for what you sell them. So there's going to be cutbacks, and that's when you're going to have to look for these resources where they're going to have to help you. Yes, you're going to do your best to make it as similar to your product. And when you're that big, and we're manifesting this because Nourishing Mama will be that big, but you are going to have some kind of help, because you can't, like, as much as you want to do it all, you can't. You're just one person.
No, and honestly, that's the thing. I have said this from the beginning. Yes, they're homemade products, because that's how I start. But best believe, as soon as I can hire help, I would definitely will, because I want to delegate all these damn tasks to other people. I don't want to deal with all this. I don't want to deal with it. As much as I love making a product, and I've learned to formulate the recipe, the formula that is down to a T, and know exactly what to do and everything. At some point, I know this has to be delegated to someone else, because I'm hoping to scale the business. Of course, I'm hoping, but when it comes to, you have to see it this way, when it comes to growing a business, especially like cosmetics, kind of beauty products and so on, yes, they can start off. There's so many brands that have started off in the kitchen, literally how I started. And then if you want to grow, you have to accept the fact that at one point, you're no longer going to have homemade products. You're going to have manufactured products. As long as your formula is your true formula and is followed to a T, you eventually are going to have to delegate this to something else, to a bigger, either it might start off with a couple of workers, and they'll learn how to hand make these in like we'll have like a big sort of workshop, or a big a warehouse where we can make these products, and then, or lab I should say, and then sell them. Or eventually, when it gets really big, this would have to start being manufactured by a company, by an actual factory where they're processing, the formula and doing it all. But ultimately, it will still remain the same, where 95% of the ingredients, or potentially more if possible, will remain organic. So already suppliers would all stay the same. Heat will be used where it's always been used, and not to fast forward anything. So the processes and the formula will remain the same, but eventually I am very aware that I'm gonna have to delegate these things to bigger whether it's workers or factory or whatever, I'm going to have to move this task onto someone else to eventually do. So I can just be the CEO of my company and I could tell people what to do.
Yes, queen.
Manifest that.
Can I be your PA?
Oh, absolutely, girl. And listen, when I start hiring, I'm going to start hiring from the people I know, okay?
Okay, good, good, yeah. I was going to say actually, because I'm a bit of a bum, but I promise
I will find a job for you, baby. I will find a job for you. Don't worry.
So we just want to say that we're so proud. Like, we feel like we've seen, like we may not talk to you and, but we're always there, like in the back, rooting for you. And we love seeing it. Like Jess and I are always in constant contact and like, oh my God, she's doing something new. And, I'm still like, I'm waiting for payday to order everything. Because it's just like, it's just so nice seeing when another mama is doing so well for herself. And like you say, is that this was born out of love because you wanted the best for your children, as we all do. But some of us just don't have that passion there. Like, we need someone, and this is where I say, like, maybe you doing it and me thinking, oh my God, like what if like a mum listens to this and they think, you know what, she's right, like I shouldn't be buying like X and Y products, because the reality is I don't really know what's going into my my baby. Like, there's so many things that we don't really think of it until we kind of hear. And if I was to go into my cabinet and look at the actual things that I'm, the shampoos that I buy and stuff, they might have things that, when I go and search what these chemicals are, I'll be like, oh, we're so quick to jump at, oh, we don't want the coronavirus vaccine, but we don't know what we're actually putting in our bodies. So we honestly do need to be mindful. And like I said, another mama might be listening to this and might be saying, you know what, I'm going to embark on this journey and try and make something natural for my kids. And like you, like they might just start something just, for my family and then go on.
Yes, I will always, please know that I will always support any startup brands, any businesses. I am not the type of person that's like, oh, why are they asking me this? No, I am literally the opposite. If you want to start a business, Erica, today decided that you wanted to do body butters, please come to me and I will help you. I'll give you my suppliers. I will give you, as much as I can give you and help you along the way. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's so important, especially for business, like, new businesses. You want to have some kind of mentorship. You want to have someone that's already there and done it. So why not offer that help? And why not offer that help truly, not, I am supported and then you're bashing. No, offer that help truly from your heart, because you don't understand. Listen, this world is a boomerang, yeah? Life is a boomerang. What you throw literally comes back to you. Just don't forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we usually like to end our episodes with a golden tip. And what would well, you can give a golden tip on whatever, but I want you to touch on it's like someone that might be starting, a brand, something similar to you, and just like kind of like coming out of that I'm just a mum phase kind of thing, kind of like looking outside of that mindset and seeing, if it's possible for you, it can be possible for any one of us. It's just really looking at what we want to do and we want to pursue in our life.
I would say, coming from my point of view, where I told you I suffered from imposter syndrome a lot, I would say that if you're going to start, if you're a mama and all you've known kind of thing other than your career is to be a mom, I would say definitely invest in yourself, whether that means take a course, start reading, start watching, follow the right people, start learning. Whatever it is that is your passion that you want to take further and you think, do you know what, I can turn this into a business. Don't just do, I can do this and let me start selling whatever. No, research as much as possible, and if possible, do a course, if it's a mini course or a bigger, longer course, in what you want to learn. If you want to start making cakes, learn how to do it properly. Learn allergies, learn different ingredients, learn different diets, different things like that. If you want to start sewing, go and learn different patterns. Take different classes to teach you how to do different types of sewing. Anything you're planning to do, definitely invest in yourself in learning how to do it. Don't take shortcuts, as tempting as it can be to just quickly get something out there. Learn how to make something, because honestly, your customers will appreciate you so much more for it. Your brand would be your brand. Your brand would be like, you would you're representing your brand, remember. So learn. If you don't want to, especially like me, because I suffer from, like I said, you know, imposter syndrome. If you don't want to feel like that, learn your shit. And, you know, feel confident in what you're offering is exactly something that you know about, that you can talk for days about. So that would be my tip. And obviously, and also don't be scared to start. Just start. Honestly, don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for this to happen. Don't wait for, you know, Fulanito to be 10 years old. Don't wait for, you know, Fulanita to be this old, whatever. No, do what you need to do now. Start. I also just want to say that I am super, super grateful for you girls having me on your podcast. Thank you so much. And I would like to offer you girls something. I would love to give you a discount code for all your listeners to use, for yourselves to use and your listeners to use. And it's Mamas15. And it will give you 15% off any order on my website. Indefinitely. So that's for all you and your listeners to use at any point.
Oh, thank you so much. For everyone listening, that's Mamas15, and you can go on nourishingmama.co.uk.
Yes.
And on Instagram, where can they find you?
It's nourishingmama.uk.
I think we've had this episode on like heat for a really long time. Jess and I have always said we really wanted to, like, you know, talk to you about all this, because it's like, for us, it's kind of like we're mums, and we've kind of like, sometimes we felt like we've lost motivation, like Jess with like the pandemic and stuff and not being able to go back to work. Obviously she's had a longer time to kind of digest things at home. Sometimes you feel like my life is on pause, like I'm not doing anything for me. And even me, like after my first, I went back to work, I felt like, you know, when you're not satisfied with the job you're doing, you're just doing it because it brings in money, and that's what I kind of need. So I find it very fulfilling when I can see another mama go through something that she really loves, and you can see it in yourself, like the passion you put into it. And that's why me and Jess are constantly like, oh my gosh, she's making something else. Like, and we're always like, literally, like, we're at the back room. Maybe sometimes your ears are red because we're constantly like, oh my God, yes, she's doing it. And it's just so nice to see someone like making it. And obviously we cannot wait to see you in billboards and stuff.
Billboards. Please manifest it.
Manifest as well. And where's that Whole Foods? No, do you know what I was actually going to mention? You know that picture you used for your new campaign, where you can see the blue sea at the back and the model? Oh, yeah. That picture, that is an amazing picture. I think the blue just makes it. I don't know. I saw it and I literally felt like I was in the Maldives. And I'm always talking about the Maldives, and I was like, oh my God.
Would you believe that's Camber Sands? That's Camber Sands. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna lie. The picture has been edited in a way to make it look a bit like, you know, nicer, kind like the sea a bit bluer because it's England and the sea was like grey. But it honestly was such a lovely day, and that's my sister-in-law. That's my brother's wife. Imagine, she's so beautiful.
I love that you use your mom as well.
Yeah, it was so important. Do you know what? For me, the way I saw it is like, I want, if say for instance a woman that's like in her 50s looking at this, to feel like she's welcome to this as well. Why could you not also glow? You know, you're very welcome to that. You also deserve to have a hot girl summer. Why not?
Absolutely.
You know? So I thought it was important to showcase that, you know, it's for everyone to use.
Yeah, because representation is very important. It's the same when you look at, like, say, like you go on like Misguided and you see like a skinny person wearing a dress and you're like, that's not my body type. Like, like, where's like the flabs and stuff? Like, I need someone with like me.
Realistic body, please. Realistic body, please.
Yeah, so it sometimes you can, and even like it's happened to loads of us. Like, you know, like those memes, you buy a dress and you're like, doesn't look like that on the model. Looks awful on me. So I've had so many of those,
trust me.
I love the representation because it's so important. Love to see it.
Mama's Code out. Mwah.
Mama's Code.